we go. Oh, God, I get hard every time I hear that sound. What is up? Welcome to the 5th season, the debut of the 5th season of the Cone Zone. I am Axl Cones. What is up? It's great to be back here in the studio. I've got a lot to cover tonight, so I'm going to hit it right away. 2003 is history. So to start the new 5th season, let me sum it all up for you. Since this is a 30-minute show, I'll keep it as short as possible. My 2003 year in review, forgive me, but I have to throw my 2 cents in here. What a crazy year 2003 was, huh? Where do I start with this one? I guess the big story of the year has to be on March 19th, 2003, President George W. Bush invaded Iraq after claiming Baghdad had weapons of mass destruction, which it didn't. Oops. I guess the invasion wasn't a total loss, though. On December 13th, U.S. forces dug up Saddam Hussein like a carrot. Hussein was hiding in a hole in the ground just at his hometown of Tikrit. Bugs Bunny Hussein also had 750 large and $100 bills in his possession. Many wild speculations flew about what Dig Dug Hussein was going to do with all that jack. I knew what he was up to. Why didn't somebody ask me? It's totally obvious. He was going to get in on the next case of Paris Hilton sex tapes when they became available. Am I the only one who saw this? In 2003, Paris Hilton became America's new eye candy, leaving Britney Spears resembling the unbussed banquet table after the Christmas party left. With the fading attention on the horizon, I hope Brit doesn't do anything drastic in 2004 to keep her name in the headlines like, I don't know, get married to some geek and then annul it a few hours later. I would hate to see that. Speaking of attention-seeking skanks, Pam Anderson broke off her engagement to Kid Rock in 2003. Oh, no. God, no way. Didn't see that coming. What's the matter, skank? Kid Rock wouldn't cut a porn tape for you to sell on the internet? Ah! Pam Anderson went on to say that, quote, no one understands my alternative lifestyle, end of quote. You know, I've said this before and I'll say it yet again. Being an attention-seeking whore is as big a disease as any other. While I'm on the skank-bashing parade, Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck called off their wedding in 2003. Here again, what a shocker. Come on, hooker, hurry up and get in your, 6th marriage and divorce before your 30th birthday? You have a Zsa Zsa Gabor pace to keep. Hey, J-Ho, you know your relationships have hit rock bottom when Liz Taylor is on TV clowning on you, okay? How about this crock of shit? In 2003, more than 200 people were sued by music companies for illegally copying tunes over the internet. Exactly. You know, it's pretty disturbing to listening to fuckbags like Lars Ulrich crying about teenagers downloading their music. Is Metallica that greedy of scumbags? That they enjoy watching 8-year-olds being sued? As long as it remains about the fans, right, Lars? Hey, Lars, you're number 1 in my book, all right? Sit on your mountain of jack, eat shit and die, you heartless son of a bitch. Excellent. On February of 2003, America's favorite freak, Michael Jackson, aired his side of the 2020 special that aired months earlier. The program showed us the stuff we didn't see in the Donald Bashir interview. You know that Jackson's a good guy and what he's really like with children. Then, in December of 2003, Michael Jackson was arrested and charged with 7 counts of child molestation. Gee, really? Jackson pleaded not guilty. Well, of course he did. My favorite thing about this Michael Jackson saga was when Joe Jackson stuck his pie hole on national television and claimed that everybody is picking on his son. Yeah, great. This coming from the abusive asshole who's responsible for turning one of the most talented human beings into a sideshow so he could line his own pockets. Thanks for nothing, Joe. Hey, Joe, when you go to hell and you're walking around with the all-access pass and Hitler uses you as his personal fuck toy, you just remember how you got there, okay? And enjoy the view. Thank you for that. As far as Michael goes, Jackson needs to check himself into the Betty Ford Clinic as his 12-year-old crack habit is completely out of control. Just an observation. 2003 wasn't too good of a year for big fat-ass Rush Limbaugh, was it? During an ESPN NFL pre-show, Limbaugh stated that Philadelphia Eagles quarterback Donovan McNabb was overrated because he's black. Brilliant. ESPN came back with they were, quote, shocked that he made that comment. Shocked? I could have told you that the next intelligent comment out of this baboon's pie hole will be his first. Later in the year, Limbaugh entered rehab after getting hooked on prescription painkillers. That's funny. I thought Rush was addicted to Twinkies. Painkillers, Nice try, Rush. Just wash the sheets and get it over with. A couple people caught that. Okay. A piece of crap Kobe Bryant was arrested in 2003 for raping a 19-year-old Colorado woman, allegedly. Bryant claims he's innocent. Well, of course he is. Just for the record, if the charcoal Frank Gifford adulterer wants to bang the fat chick, that's his business. But I don't want to hear a peep from this scumbag after his 2004 trial when his wife wakes up and bleeds his bank account like the tourniquet in the Name the Father ghetto wing at Denver General Hospital. I'm going to hell so fast, it's not even funny. I hope it was worth it, Cobster. And by the way, that $4 million rock you bought your hot wife for cheating on her is the lamest attempt for an apology I've ever seen. Believe me, asswipe, you'll get yours. Mary Cook, a.k.a. Mary Carey, became the first porn star to run for governor in the state of California in 2003. Mary was defeated by the Terminator. If Mary would have somehow pulled this one off, so to speak, I would have bought a house in Hollywood the next day. As I'm guessing after Mary's changes, the Whiskey A Go-Go would make Studio 54 look like Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. Speaking of Mr. Rogers, Fred Rogers went 10 toes up in 2003. I was actually saddened the day he passed away. I grew up with this crazy kook. However, I was glad to see that the wooden sock puppet King Friday didn't do the eulogy a la Jim Henson. I am sick. 2003 was a devastating year for celebrity deaths. Katharine Hepburn, Donald O'Connor, Senator Strom Thurmond, Johnny Cash, Celia Cruz, Barry White, Gregory Peck, David Brinkley, Charles Bronson, Nell Carter, Art Carney, Andy Dick's career, Gregory Hines, Robert Palmer, Robert Stack, Tex Schramm, and one of my favorite human beings on the planet, John Ritter, all passed away in 2003. And oh yeah, for all you sick bastards who had Bob Hope in your mock dead pools at work for the last 10 years, you can finally mark a big red R.I.P. beside his name. Sick. Jonathan Friedman. Anybody know who he is?
No.
Jonathan Friedman, I couldn't read there for a second. Jonathan Friedman is a 5th grader from Lake Oswego, Oregon, who will appear in the 2004 Guinness Book of World Records. What did the fine young lad do, you ask? Did he set a new school attendance record? Did he break a record for most semesters with straight A's? Did he break a record for most books read by a 5th grader? Yeah, not quite. Jonathan Friedman will enter the Guinness Book of World Records for hanging 7 spoons from his face. Nice job, Jonathan Friedman. It's nice to see that our youth of today have such high goals set for themselves. And even worse, the parents encouraging it. I'm going to mention his name one more time so we have it on record when the authorities in Oregon can't identify who's firing off the shots from the bell tower. Oh yeah, that will be Jonathan Friedman, okay? Colorado Avalanche goalie Patrick Waugh retired from the NHL in 2003. Now he can remodel his doors in peace. Being a Detroit Red Wing fan, even I know that Patrick Waugh was the greatest goalie ever to play the sport. Enjoy the Hall of Fame. How about 72-year-old New York Yankee coach Don Zimmer getting flung to the ground by Boston Red Sox pitcher Pedro Martinez during the 2003 AL playoffs? How hilarious was that? So many people have told me how they felt sorry for Zimmer. Personally, the crazy old bastard got exactly what he deserved. I'll go on record and say this. I don't care who approaches me, man, woman, kid, fetus. If I feel as though my life is in danger, you're going down, all right? As for Don Zimmer, next time stay on the bench, you old geezer. In 2003, Reverend Al Sharpton announced he was tossing his hat in the presidential ring. Not to burst your rid the white man off the planet Earth, White House bubble, Al. But you're going to get clubbed worse than a seal in the Antarctic, all right? Herpes. I thought that joke was funny. I don't know. Just an inside joke we got going on with the crowd here. All right, 2 words for you, Al. Jesse Jackson. Remember that 1984 debacle? Look it up. On February 1st, 2003, pyrotechnics at a great white show engulfed a Rhode Island nightclub, killing 100 people. Let's see, flames 12 feet high, ceiling 8 feet high. It's not that complicated, fellas. On the lighter side, no pun intended, in 2003, the Cotton Bowl in Dallas, Texas, experimented by placing fried Twinkies in the concession stands. Great idea. It's not like 70% of Americans aren't already big fat asses. Let's throw deep fried Twinkies in the mix. Maybe in 2004, the Cotton Bowl can add Crisco shots with chocolate chasers. February 1st, 2003, the Space Shuttle Columbia disintegrated, killing all 7 astronauts on board. The cause, a 2-pound piece of foam fell away from the shuttle and crashed into its wing. Residents near the Kennedy Space Center found pieces of the debris in their neighborhood. I wonder how much Michael P. Anderson's left index finger would go for on eBay.
Nobody likes eBay.
I guess not. Okay. On August 14th, 2003, tens of millions of Americans and Canadians were plunged into darkness when 3 power lines failed in Ohio, starting a chain reaction across the East Coast.
Yeah.
This blackout was the largest in U.S. history. Well, I've seen some of the women in Cleveland, so darkness isn't too bad of a thing. Apparently everybody likes Cleveland, too. My favorite story of 2003 has got to be the release of I Can Fly, a children's book released by R. Kelly. Wait a minute, the same R. Kelly who in June of 2002 was charged with 21 counts of child pornography? The same R. Kelly who videotaped his sexual encounters with 13-year-old girls? That R. Kelly? Kelly said about the book, quote, "I'm expecting some negative response." End of quote. Yeah, I'd say so. Kelly also said, quote, "I've done a lot of wrong things in my life, but I'm not a criminal. I'm not a monster." End of quote. You're right, R. Kelly, you're not a monster. I believe the little girls refer to you as the bad boogeyman who films their pee-pees. Yeah, you're a monster. Kim J. Delaney, publisher of I Can Fly, said the book is aimed at readers ages 6 to 9 years old. This book is one of Delaney's so-called fuzzy feeling series, claiming it will offer children lessons on self-esteem, hard work, and making it against all odds. I just find that funny. I think what Delaney meant to say was, this book will be one big mugshot to teach kids that scumbags are walking amongst us and not to take candy from piece of shit, pedophile, wannabe musicians. May you rot in the bowels of hell, R. Kelly. 2003 is history. What can happen in 2004, whatever, to top this? I guess we'll have to wait and see. So until next year, that's my take, but then again, what the hell do I know? Yeah.